Oh, yeah, I'm not dead. I'm really sorry for the little hiatus. It's because, dealing with fucking. I absolutely hate it. Like I said, I'm pretty much busy with fucking assignments. I absolutely hate it. But at least, at least at least it's going to be the weekend, so I'm going to be able to do my usual stuff. Sort of. Yeah, you see, I'm gonna be having no class on not Friday. I meant we're not, or at least I'm not going to be having class for Monday and Tuesday. So this will be a pretty happy week for all of you guys, or at least sort of like days for you guys. So yeah, hello guys, I am back from another video and today we're talking about what if I meant Belle had the ability to summon heroic spirits. So in the last week we talked about how, basically simple, he got captured, basically, brought to to the City of Lust, aka, the Ishtar Familia territory. But after arriving there and meeting meeting up with, Ishtar herself, and after a bit of talking, which, Ishtar would start to laugh, even because after hearing, his whole relationship with Beth, let's just say it was a bit hilarious. And after being told of this, she would basically bring him, or at least told, some of the, members of her, I was about to say peerage. I meant familia, to basically bring him to, to a little area. More specifically, a little, housing area for him. And let's just say that housing area also has another purpose. You can probably guess what. But either way, we continue on as after, a bit of talking with some of the members of the, Hestia Familia, mostly that were, mostly girls. And let's just say, some of them decided to try and have a bit of fun with him. And yeah, let's just say, after a few minutes, not really a few minutes, but more like a few hours of basically, doing that with him, let's just say all of them were basically either, broken or just completely knocked out. And as for Bell, he pretty much still has some stamina, but still he pretty much hates it. I'm starting to think that Bell is either a masochist or just goes with the flow at this point. But either way, after that we go back to to the rest of the other familias, or more specifically the alliance, which is between the Freya, Loki, because, Loki is forced to do it because of, Bet, but either way, and also the Hestia Familia, because remember, he still has his servants, and his servants are currently with, with Hestia, and now they're, trying to basically invade the City of Lust to basically get Belle back. And after that, that's where we basically sort of end off the episode. So, yeah, I hope you liked the video, or at least, hope that you're going to be liking this video because, I need likes. But either way, anyway, continue on. So, yeah, let us talk about what happens next, ladies and gents. Glad to be back. And also sort of not, because, I still have to deal with, more assignments that I have to deal, but either way, let's continue on. So, we currently see Belle in, still pretty much in, the room that is where he's basically being stayed, or basically, being told to basically stay there, as it's been, about a few weeks now. Yeah, a few weeks. And during those weeks, he was, let's just say, not really, tortured, to say the least, but more you can probably already guess because of this whole, series. Just like this one commenter said, it basically my channel's basically degraded into nothing more than, absolute degeneracy. But still, it's still pretty funny, but also not good. But still, either way, we currently see Belle basically in the bed, basically resting. As he would say this to himself. Just hope they come back, he would say to himself. As he's currently still pretty much healing his legs. I mean, his legs are still able, are sort of able now for him to basically walk and stuff. but still, they're too weak to basically allow him to basically, like, let's just say run or kick or anything of that sort. So yeah, he's currently still sleeping on the bed, as one of the Amazon nests would say this. Hey, Mr. Bell, she would say, as he would say this. Yeah, he would say, as she would say this. Well, can you, come outside for a second, she would say, as he would say this. Why, he would say, as one of them would say this. Well, you see, said a much more larger, Amazon nest than her, as she would say this. Well, you see, Mistress, Ishtar wants to talk to you. Wants to talk with you, she would say, as he would say this. Sure, he would say, as after standing up and trying to, position himself, he would start leaving to go with the other two, Amazon nests. Currently, outside of the city. We currently see now the rest of, like, I guess you can say the Allied forces or whatever you want to call them, as they're currently, watching the city, as one of them would say this. Specifically, what's her name? Yeah, Hestia, as Hestia would say this. Alright, let's take them down, she would say. But before she could actually leave to go there, as one of them would say this. Hold up, Hestia, said, Emiya, as she would say this. Why? I mean, we're gonna be helping out Belra, or, for obvious reasons, she would say. As after saying this, Morgan would say this. I mean, it would be a good idea to just, let us just, like, handle this, but it's preferred to be, a little bit more prepared in case of, like, something happening, she would say. As one of them would say this, specifically, Koyanskaya. I do have to agree. And as for you, she would say, specifically towards, Bet, as Bet would say this. Yeah, miss, actually, I don't really remember your name, she would say. As she would say this. Call me Koyanskaya, she would say. As she would say this. Oh, okay, Koyan, whatever, she would say. As she would basically, smack her head a little bit, as she would say this. Whatever, she would say. As she would look towards, Hestia, she would say this. We need to make a plan. How about, she would say, as one of them would say this, specifically, Malay, which, by the way, every time when I pronounce her name, Malay, from, Fate Grand Order, not the arcade version, because remember, she's a foreigner, not a saber, which, by the way, I'm still a bit controversial towards that, and not only that, I'm also a bit, angry about, a certain, wait for a second, a certain, actually, Proto Merlin, right? Well, apparently she's, in the game now, she's considered as a summer servant, which, kind of pissed me off for some odd reason, mostly because, why not just let her just be a regular old servant instead of, that? Just come on. Don't let her be like this. I just want her to be in her regular form, nothing else, nothing more. It just pissed me off that's how she's basically turned into that. But still, it's still pretty good that she's able to be in the game. I just like her design. And also, haha, actually I'm not even gonna say it! Because that sounds so wrong, but either way, as Malloy would say this. Or, I just call her Justice de Malloy instead of Justice de Malay. Because, I just like it that way. As Malay would say this. How about burning up the entire town? I mean, why not? Would distract some of the members of the, Hestia, not Hestia, I meant the Ishtar familia, and we can snap in and would basically destroy them, she would say. As, Freya would say this. That sounds like a wonderful idea, she would say. As Gilgamesh would say this. I guess you're right, Knight, he would say. As after saying that, Malloy would say this. Thank you, she would say. As, Gilgamesh would say this. But I'll be the one to take care of Ishtar. Let's just say I have a vendetta against her, he would say. As, one of them would say this. Specifically, Bet. Wait. Really? What is that exactly? As he would say this. You don't really want to know, he would say. And if you know in the legend, or more specifically back in Fate Grand Order, more specifically in the Babylon Singularity, you'll probably know why he hates her. God, every time when I get reminded of that, I still kind of think it's kind of funny. And if you don't know what that means, or at least you don't know what actually that's supposed to mean or whatever, then just go in the comments and basically see if any of you want to explain why Gilgamesh hates, Ishtar, be my guest. I'm not gonna be saying all of that because that's a completely different thing, in my opinion, and I'm not really qualified for that. But either way, continuing on with the episode. As after saying so, we go to, to, Belle. We finally go back to Belle, as Belle is basically, with the other Amazonesses and also, some of the members of, the Ishtar Familia. As one of them would say this. So, welcome back, Belle, she would say. Specifically, Ishtar herself, as he would say this. Hello there, Miss Ishtar, he would say, as he would basically bow down a little bit, as she would say this. Oh, now, don't mean to be so formal, she would say. Besides, we are equal here. Or at least for you, soon, she would say. As he would say this. What is that supposed to mean, he would say. As she would say this. No, I just want you to come to my chambers very soon. And please come there immediately. After all, soon, you'll get what you wish, she would say. As after saying that, we're gonna be seeing, Izuku basically leaving, not Izuku, I meant Belle basically leaving with, the two, Amazonesses, as she would say this. Now, it's time for me to strike, and then I'll finally get my revenge on her, she would say. As after saying so, we go back to Belle, as Belle was basically being, brought back to his room. After basically arriving back, he would decide to, get some sleep. After sleeping, it was already nighttime. As we go to another perspective. In this case, as we currently see the perspective of the Allied forces, as we currently see them getting ready for the attack. As we see, Emiya getting ready bombs. As in, not really bombs, but more like, I don't know, maybe like freaking napalm. As he's also connected them to some fire. After doing so, he would arrive back towards, to the others, as he would say this. Or I planted the bombs, he would say. As after saying that, Melusine would say this. Good. Now, as after saying that, she would start looking towards, Koinskaya, as she would say this. Let her rip, she would say. As she would say this. You don't really need to tell me twice, she would say. As after saying that, she would activate the bomb. And a large explosion would happen. Currently, we go back to another perspective. More specifically, maybe like, I guess you could say like a general POV, I guess you could say, but either way, we currently see the, several of the people outside of the, outside of the walls, or at least, inside the walls, basically like, how do I say this? Yeah, basically screaming out in pain. Some of them getting launched by some of the fire. Some by, getting getting their face basically as we currently see several people basically screaming out in pain, getting some of the napalm on them as the fire is basically burning them alive. Some of them getting severe burns as some of the, members of the, of the Ishtar Familia are trying to, help them out. While some others are basically currently, contending with the fires themselves. Even some getting burned by the fire itself, saying, "The hell is this fire?" said one of them. As one of them would say this, shit, I can't take it off, said one of them. As one of them was trying to put it out, but unfortunately, because of the, the flammable, I guess you could say gel, as in, napalm, basically, how do I say this? Oh yeah, basically killing them, or basically sticking onto them. Basically like glue. And so, currently everything is in complete shambles. As currently we also see, Bill basically, going to the halls as he's being tracked by, some of the members of the Ishtar Familia. As one of them would say this. Good luck, said, one of them, as one of them would say this. Yeah, good luck, Bill. As, he would say this. Yeah, I guess so, he would say. But before you can actually go in, they would hear the sound of shit, shit, she would say. As after saying that, Ishtar would come out basically wearing her normal clothing, which are, the red robes, as she would say this. Shit, she would say, as Belle would say this. What the heck is going on? Said, Belle, as Ishtar would say this. It seems that Freya decided to come in. She would say, as Belle would say this. Wait, Freya? He would say, as she would say this. That damn bitch! She would say, take Belle away, she would say. As after saying that, they would decide to take Belle away towards, a different area. As we currently see Belle basically being escorted towards, a really large cage, as one of them would say this. Go in, Belle, she would say, as one of them would say this. Yeah, try and get in, she would say. As after saying that, he would say this. Sure, he would say. As after saying that, he would start going inside of the, inside of the large, wait for a second. Sorry about this. As after being told of this, Belle would basically go inside of the cage and they would start leaving him, or not really leaving him, I meant, basically bring him towards a different area. As we go back into the city once again, as we currently see some of the members of the Alliance basically taking care of some of the Ishtar Familia members. As one of them would say this. Shit! The Freya Familia and the Loki Familia have arrived, said one of them. As one of them would say this. Destroy them, she would say. Said, one of the commanders, as after saying so, they would start launching, some arrows from the sky. As, Emilia would say this. This will be easy, he would say. As after saying that, he would start, activating something. As he would say this. I am the bone of my sword, he would say. As he would say this. Now, Roea, he would say. As after saying that, a large, shield that almost resembles a flower would basically, cover them. As everybody would just be in shock. As the arrows would basically just bounce off it. As one of them would say this. Shit! How? Said one of them. As one of them would say this. Destroy him, she would say. As after saying that, they would start charging towards him. Mostly, some members from the ground. As they would start charging towards them, one of them would say this. Specifically, well, Jessica Malloy, as she would say this. Let me take care of this now. It's finally time for me to shine, she would say. As after saying that, she would start activating her noble phantasm, as she would say this. As she would say this, the temple that serves as the location of the beginning of gruesome torture and execution. As the area around her would start to change, as several, figures wearing almost knightly helmets would basically, hold up swords, basically in like an upward position. As behind her was a large creature which oddly resembles some sort of like plushie. It almost resembles a goat with wings. As she would continue on, a black mass of devil worship that occurs within this fortress that has been transformed into an eerie alternate dimension. A high contrasting of curses and are turned into a substance and the blasphemous creatures that has descended out overruns the enemies and swallows them up in its womb, she would say. As after saying that, she would as her body would start to, slowly morph, transforming into something that resembles this. She would just start to transform into this, as she would say this. Now, destroy everything, she would say. As after saying that, she would say her noble phantasm's name. She would say, Ventridi Treyas, she would say. As after saying that, a black substance would start coming out of the large, plushie-like thing, as would cause every single member of the, of the Ishtar Familia to start, falling into it, or basically, being sucked in by this weird substance, as they would just be gone. After doing so, she would slowly start to morph back into her normal self. As she would say this. Now, let us get into the city, she would say. As everybody would just be in shock. Mostly those that are not actually a part of, like, the Hestia Familia. Even Hestia herself was just, like, in shock, while the others were just like, yep, that's a normal Tuesday for us. As, what is her name? Yeah. Melchor would say this. Alright, let's get in, she would say. As after saying that, she would start moving towards the city as she would start creating water, basically skiing on it. As she would see a few people basically charging at her as she would say this. Don't get in my way, she would say. As after saying that, she would use the blades on her feet to basically start slicing through them, like almost like butter to a knife. As we go back to Belle, as Belle is basically being, carried towards, a large area of the, of the, well, of the city, as one of them would say this. We might have made it, she would say. As one of them would say this. Yeah, it seems so, she would say. As Belle would say this. So, why are we here exactly, he would say. As she would say this. Well, Mistress told us that we're gonna be waiting here for now. As after saying that, he would say this. I see, he would say. As one of them would say this. Oh yeah, we got your stuff, she would say. As she would say this. Excuse me, what? He would say. As she would say this. Yeah, we got your things. In case of like something happening. And we also want to learn from you. At least, she would say. As he would say this. Yeah, I would imagine much, he would say. As before he can say anything else, a person would basically arrive on the scene, riding on some sort of chariot being carried by this large dragonoid-like creature. As this person was Hephaestion. As Hephaestion would say this, get away from Master, she would say. As after saying that, she would start striking them with with her sword, as it would cause, the two Amazonists to basically fall to the ground in instant pain. As she would say this, Master, are you okay? She would say. As Izuka would say this, not Izuka, I meant Belle would say this. Yeah, I'm fine. Just get me out of here, he would say. As she would say this, with pleasure, she would say. As after saying that, she would destroy the cage in minutes. As she would say this, Master. As Belle would say this, what is it, he would say. As she would say this, where are your weapons exactly, she would say. As after saying that, Belle would say this. Well, my weapons are actually actually, they didn't really told me where it is. Apparently they do have it, so, as one of them would say this. I see, said, specifically, Hephaestion. As she would say this. But either way, she would say. As after saying that, Belle would also notice, some of the areas are basically on fire, as he would say. Wait, what the hell is going on? He would say, as she would say this. Well, we sort of made an alliance with the Loki and also, Freya Familia to basically try and save you. As he would say this. And I'm guessing that was successful, he would say. As she would say this. Yes, pretty much. As after saying that, they would, start, getting some of their things. More specifically, Belle basically getting his clothing back. As he would say this. That felt, a little bit uncomfortable, he would say. As he would basically, grab onto his sword and, his two swords and also his large broadsword as he would start wearing his helmet once again. As he would say this. Alright, then we should probably start leaving, he would say. As one of them would say this. Not so fast, said, a person from above. As this person was Aisha. As she would say this. I'm sorry, but unfortunately you're not leaving here. Especially you, Belle, she would say. As she would get ready, as she would start getting ready with her sword. As he would say this. Really then, he would say. As after saying that, she would say this. Yeah, she would say. As she would start getting ready her sword, as he would say this. Hey, Hephaestion, he would say. As she would say this. Yes, master, she would say. As he would say this. I command you, by my command seal, to help me in this fight, he would say. As after saying that, sorry about that, anyway, continuing on. As after saying that, she would start getting a powerful boost in her, in her fighting ability, as she would say this. Okay, master, she would say. As after saying that, she would get ready here, her sword. As after saying this, she would say this. Specifically, Aisha, as she would say this. Don't even think that you can easily beat me, child, she would say. And besides, you're still pretty much weakened after that little, fun time that you had with some of the, with some of our, members, she would say. As, one of them would say this. Specifically, Hephaestion, as she would say this. Wait, did you, she would say, as he would say this. Well, not exactly. More like I've been forced to do that, he would say. As she would say this. Oh, I see then. Guess I'll just be destroying her even more painfully than usual, she would say. As after saying that, he would say this. Sure then. As after saying that, he would start getting ready with his, with his it's almost like gram-based swords, or, either I'm just gonna call it gram or Balmong. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna be calling it, Balmong. Because gram is basically like Sigurd's sword, not, Siegfried. As he would start getting ready his two swords, as you would say this. Now, let's use the strongest here, he would say. As after saying that, she would say this. With pleasure, she would say. As the fight would begin. As we go to a different perspective. We go to Freya and also Gilgamesh, as Gilgamesh would say this. Those pathetic little whelps that believe themselves to be higher than me are easily beaten, he would say. As after saying that, he would start, using, his, I guess you could say tablet to basically, start firing off some, spells. As these spells were either fire, lasers, or something of that sort. As it would cause some of the, members of the, of the Ishtar familiar to start to fall easily. As some of them would say this. The hell? How is this freaking wizard over there, like, that powerful, said one of them. As one of them would say this. Well, he is a part of the, Hestia familia. As after saying that, one of them would say this. But still, does he even have a weakness, said one of them. As he would say this. Don't even think that you, losers over there can easily beat me. Now, face the power. I'm sorry about that. Wait. Now, face the power of the King of Heroes, he would say. As after saying that, several more, not spears, I meant, several more, magic stars would basically appear from the sky. As the sky would basically be illuminated golden. As several of these, stars would start shooting off blast as it would explode the ground around them, causing several of the people to basically start flying away like, like rag dolls. As after doing so, he would say this. Pathetic, he would say. As after saying that, he would start getting rid of his sword. As he would say this. Now, as, not really sword, I meant, basically getting rid of his, axe, axe staff, as he would say this. Now, let's try this out, he would say. As after saying that, he would start charging towards, one of them. As he would start slashing them with his, axe. Instead of like the usual like casting skill, instead he's gonna be using his staff as like an axe. As several of the people would just be surprised, as one of them would say this. Sorry about that. As one of them would say this. The hell! Not only does he have the ability to use long range spells, but not only that, able to use that, said one of them. As one of them would say this. Yeah, he's extremely strong, said one of them. As she would say this, specifically Freya. Now, if you excuse me, I should be, going to, to my rival, or at least my supposed rival, as after saying that, she would start leaving, as he would say this. Let me have a bit of fun with her, he would say, as she would say this. Oh, you will, she would say, as after saying that, we go to another perspective once again, as we currently see, Justice de Malloy basically, using her noble phantasm, basically creating more of this almost dark sludge, basically causing some of the members of the, Ishtar familiar to instantly fall to the ground, basically screaming out in pain. As we also see, Melusine, basically, flying through the sky, while Bergeist and Morgan basically, with her, as they're currently causing a little bit more mayhem than usual. As we also see, Melchulus basically, causing a bit of chaos. As one of them would say this. You damn bitch, said one of them. As one of them would start charging towards Melusine, as she would say this. You dare try to stand before me? How brave. But still foolish, she would say. As after saying that, she would start activating her noble phantasm. As she would activate her noble phantasm, saying this. What a nuisance. I wish that you would go away soon, she would say. As she would, start swirling around him, as the man would start saying, what the hell, she would say? He would say, as the man would start seeing that the entire area would be turned into nothing more than a whirlpool, as a large tornado made out of water, or actually I don't really know that term. Is it whirlpool? Yeah, maybe whirlpool. Yeah. As after doing so, he would basically be launched out of the, launched out of the large like whirlpool, and would basically, go up into the sky. As she would jump towards him, as she would basically, gets ready for a kick with, with the blade basically reaching towards his, side. As she would say this, "Now, get swallowed, Saraswati," which apparently that's the actual name. Well, apparently Sarasvati, which is apparently just like, the wrong, like, thing there. I've been saying that for like a long time now, ever since I gone to FGO. So apparently that the actual like translation is Saraswati, which sounds wrong in my opinion. So I'm just gonna be calling it Saraswati. As she would say this, "Saraswati meltdown," she would say. As after saying that, she would slice him right in half. As after doing so, everybody would just be terrified seeing that. As she would say this, "Now, who's next?" she would say. As after saying that, we go to, to Burgeiss's, like, perspective once again. Sorry about that. As we go to her basically going through the, area, as she would say this, "How annoying," she would say. "We need to get a area to basically get Master out of here," she would say. As, Melisande would say this. "There," she would say. As after saying that, she would look towards, the direction of where, Melisande is basically pointing, and they would see Belle and, wait for a second, and also a thespian basically leaving. As one of them would say this, "There they go," she would say. As, one of them would say this, specifically, Burgeiss, as she would say this. "Thankfully they're okay," she would say. But before they can say anything else, they would see, a few people getting ready to, intercept them. As she would say this, "Guess I'll take care of this time," she would say. As she would look towards, Melisande and also, and also Morgan. As she would say this, "Let me take care of this time," she would say. As one of them would say this, "Very well, then, Burgeiss," she would say. As after saying that, she would jump towards the direction of some of the people that are getting ready to intercept, Belle, and also, and also, what is his name? And also a thespian. As she would jump down, as one of them would say this. "Hey, look," said one of them, specifically a man, as the girl would say this. "Yeah, I wonder how much she can actually be, played with," said, a girl. As after saying that, all of them would laugh. As she would say this, "You dare insult me," she would say. As one of them would say this. "Yeah, so what?" said a pretty annoying ass, demi-human girl. As she would say this. "Very well then. I'll make sure to end you quickly," she would say. As she would decide to activate her noble phantasm. As she would say this. As she would say this. "This is the sword that... This sword is the proof of the law. The geothermal castle walls that correct any injustice. Now, kneel," she would say. As she would rip off, a little piece of her, like, headdress, which seemed to be actually be a part of her head, as her body would start to shift, transforming into something else. As she would transform into her true, form, resembling this. As her form would transform into this. As her sword would become even more larger. As her body would start being a little bit more revealed, as her armor would just be turned into nothing more than this. Take a guess why she's my favorite. Oh god, but either way, she would start becoming even more larger and larger, transforming into a giant as she would scream out, "Black Dog, Galatine!" she would say, as after saying that, a large black sun would appear after she sliced the ground, causing everything to be, just be destroyed. As some of the members of the, Freya and also the Loki family would just notice her basically, destroy that area, as they would say, "Holy shit," said one of them, as, one of the Freya family members would say this. Thank God that she's actually one of our, allies," said, a random like Freya Familia member, as one of them would say this. Yeah, she's terrifying, said one of them, as one of them would say this. I would hit that, as everybody would start looking at that one guy, as he would say this. What? I just like big girls, especially with those big thighs. Oh god. Like I said, devolved into degeneracy. But either way, after doing so, we go back to Belle. As we see Belle basically, arrive back outside of the, out of the now broken down as, well, area, or at least, city, as Belle would say this. We made it, he would say. As after saying that, she would say this. Yeah. Now. As after Festion basically puts him down, she would say this. Now. Let's get ready to, wait for the others, she would say. As after saying that, he would say this. Right. After saying this, they would start, waiting for the others, as they're currently, destroying the entire place. Sorry about that. Anyway, continuing on with the episode. As after waiting a while, they would notice from the outskirts that there was a large blinding light, as Izuku would say this. Not Izuku, but Belle, he would say this. Wait, is that another no phantasm, he would say? As, one of them would say this, specifically a thespian. I don't think so. As after saying that, she would say this. Then what is it exactly? As she would say this. A goddess died, she would say. As she would say this. A goddess? So you're telling me that, as she would say this, it was probably Ishtar, she would say. As we go back to, where Ishtar died. As, we currently see on top of the stairs that, Ishtar basically fell out of was Freya, as she would say this. That's what you get for daring to try and steal my bell away. Oh well, she would say, as she would start leaving the area. And after doing so, we go to the outskirts of the area, as we see, several, Amazonesses, some of the, surviving members of the Freya Familia, after seeing the death of their goddess, basically just, are crying. Saying, oh, he failed, said one of them, as one would say this. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty obvious at the start that we're gonna get fucked, said one of them, as one of them would say this. You don't really need to rub it in, our faces, said one of them, as she would say this. But still, I mean, I'm clearly the more knowledgeable one, but all of you decided, oh, why not the fuck, why the fuck not just, try and steal the most, I don't know, the currently most powerful, Familia currently, he would say, as one of them would say this. Yeah, we know, but still, said one of them. As after a bit of arguing, we go back to Belle. As we see Belle basically getting a little bit tired, as he would say this. Hey, thespian, he would say. As the thespian would say this. What is the Belle, she would say. As he would say this. I'm starting to feel tired, he would say. As after saying that, he would instantly fall into her arms, as she would say this. Master, are you okay? As he would say this. Yeah, just tired, he would say. As after saying that, we currently see Belle falling to sleep. So yeah, I'm going to be ending this episode right off here, in a cliffhanger, sort of. But either way, I hope you liked the video, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!